Listen, I have some thoughts about shaming, obviously.
Obviously.
I got some thoughts about it because I'm super passionate about this issue, obviously. I think women's sexual rights and just rights in general, it always strikes a nerve with me. And also, y'all men just drive me nuts.
Not all of us.
All of y'all drive me crazy.
Well, all right.
So, but before I get into
submitting,
back to Lori Harvey, because I'm about to get on a tangent right now. Lori Harvey, I would say, like, if Lori Harvey was a friend in my head, if she was my friend, and she is a friend in my head, right? And I were to give Lori Harvey some advice. First of all, I have no advice for her. I have zero advice for Lori Harvey.
Really?
Yes. I think Lori Harvey is probably the first person that I've talked about on the show that I have no advice for. Okay. Because I feel like Lori Harvey did everything right. Lori Harvey.
Wait, hold on. Oh, God. Yo, if Superhead is giving you your kudos, if Superhead is bigging you up, then you're doing something wrong. Like, you're doing something wrong. Anyway, let's keep going.
Kissed a bunch of frogs. Huh? And it's not her fault that none of them were good enough. That's their fault. Wow. Okay. If you were a big enough man in more ways than one, you might have been able to keep her. But you weren't good enough. You weren't big enough. You weren't man enough. You weren't something enough for her based on her standards, most likely. Wow. And she moved on. And we can't stigmatize women moving on. Y'all want us to settle for less so bad.
Her ability to misconstrue reality is above average at best. What makes you think that Diddy, who is a billionaire, couldn't find another Lori Harvey, or that Future utilized her for exactly what he wanted? But instead, the narrative is to shame men that they weren't good enough or they weren't big enough in more ways than one. Complete and utter bullshit.
And when a woman doesn't settle for less and she knows when to zip and zap and dip and dive, you're like, oh, she's a slut because you're not good enough for her. Now she belongs to the streets. And it's always the men with 17 kids talking about you belong to the streets. Bro, you are the streets. You are the dirty, nasty, rat infested. You're a rat carrying a pizza on a subway in New York, nigga. You are the streets.
Yo, she's clearly sneak this in Future right here. Well, I don't have kids, madame, but can I not be allowed to say for the street actions or behaviors based on the things that I'm seeing? What we're seeing here is clearly deception through projection, blurring the lines between what's unacceptable and what is acceptable behavior by using the subjectivity of the sister code to live in her truth without accountability.
But because you're not enough for her, and then she ends up with Michael B. Jordan.
This is a good one.
Who is a beautiful man inside and out, I'm sure. And obviously he can hold her attention.
Obviously.
This is what I always say. It's not the first. Remember when Ray J was like, I hit it first. Like, it ain't cute to be the first. That's not the cute one. It's the last. Who's good enough to be the last?
Oh, God. That's like saying, yo, bro, I just bought this Lamborghini. Oh, where? How many miles it got on it? 300,000. And then your bro was like, oh, shit, the price must have been through the roof because it got so many damn miles on it. It's complete absurdity. It makes no sense. What gets better with time and use? Your price does not go up the more miles that are put on you, especially in the dating marketplace and especially with dudes knowing how competitive that we are. All 21 3/4 lady that watch this channel right here, this is why you have to keep on watching male-focused content. Because if you dive into your echo chambers and you have influential leaders with mindsets like this, you can be led astray. But let's proceed.
First is easy. I'm experimenting, bro. Of course you were the first. I don't know what I'm doing. You don't know. It's fine. But if I'm an experienced woman who has done my sexual due diligence, who has dated and kissed all the frogs, and then you are the prince and you get to be the last one.
Oh, God.
You're the one who lets me see that I don't want any of that. And I'm going to stay right here. Like you're it. It's not who's first, it's who's last.
Yo, she rebranded it as sexual due diligence. That is absolutely hilarious. But here's the fact. Superhead lived her best life, garnered a let's say, sub-ideal reputation, is not married, has no long-term prospects with a man of value. So now she's using Jedi mind tricks to get someone to settle for the last winner.
Okay, well, on a more positive note, what make you feel powerful, like, when dating?
Not compromising my values and, like, my standards and my requirements.
Yeah.
I think it just also depends, too, like, where you guys are at in that stage of the relationship, because sometimes, like, you gotta just make sure you're giving it to the right person. I think that's important, because it's like when you start giving it to the wrong person, it's gonna, like, drain you.
But then when you know it's the right person, because everybody have on a mask in the beginning.
Oh, okay.
Exactly. So, like, overall, like, what stage of dating do you feel like you start seeing people's true colors? That's an even better question.
Hold up, before she get into that, did y'all just pick up what she just said? What makes her feel powerful in dating is not compromising. It's not about the thought of making her man happy. It's not about the thought of building relationship skills that can potentially lead into building a family with somebody. What makes her powerful is about not compromising her modern woman standards. Y'all better pay attention to the words. And Michael B. Jordan, we understand you now, my G, because at the end of the day, high value men don't play that ish.
Because what if you blocking your blessings? What if you, see, that's the thing. We talk about, like, following us, following our heart, following that feeling, but at the same time, have a whole bunch of requirements on what a person should be. So how do we know, like, which ones are, like, am I being too harsh, or am I being...
Well, I think, like, there's some superficial requirements that, like, okay, we can kind of, you can cut down on those. You can compromise on some of those, because it's like, okay, that's not really important. If it's somebody who's genuinely, like, a really good person, they care about you, they have your best interests at heart, then I feel like, okay, we can compromise on some of those things. But I think, like, as long as you're not compromising on, like, your core values and beliefs and, like...
That's it. That's it. Okay.
Well, tell me, Lori, what about your core values did you not compromise on when you allegedly date a billionaire and his son, then the world's most toxic rapper? What exactly represents your values? It's like on one side of the coin, you look at the words, and on the other side of the coin, you look at the actions. And if the words don't match the actions, then that incongruence allows for questioning. Honestly, my G's, that incongruence is exactly what you guys should be looking at in your current dating situations today.
Describe how taking control improves the overall dating experience.
I think you'll just be happier at the end of the day.
Yeah.
God damn!
I'm very much in a space right now where I'm not doing anything that's gonna compromise my peace and happiness.
Period.
So I think just taking control, making sure you, like, maintain your power, don't give your power away to anybody, that I feel like is the key to, like, truly being happy in or out of a relationship.
She's such a great case study because she exemplifies the modern woman dogma literally to a T. Going for a high value man, or let's just say a man that's a leader with a together mindset, means that you will lose power in your individualistic mindset. This is the reality that boss bays can't seem to come to terms with. This is why they choose to live their best lives in their truths, because they don't want to face that fact.
What's one thing you know now that you wished you knew sooner?
They ain't gonna do this to my boy Michael like this.
I ain't doing this with you. Chill.
You know.
Damn, son. Echo chambers, unite. There they go.
I think I even learned to...
Wait a minute, isn't the one on the, Teyanna Taylor, isn't she married? Why is she not giving her married woman advice?
Become a better communicator in this relationship. Like, I think I actually learned that about myself. I actually was a horrible communicator. Didn't know.
You think? You didn't know? Because I was the original who taught you about your communication, okay?
Okay,
so I just didn't realize it was that bad. But I learned. So that's something I've, like,
entitled.
I've been working on it, though. I've gotten it significantly better.
Okay.
Significantly.
Can't wait.
Yeah, cannot wait.
Yeah.
I don't even think that is anything that, like, I wish I knew then that I know now. I knew. Right. I probably knew then.
Sometimes it's okay just not have no regrets.
Like,
life is life.
I feel like that's the beautiful part of growth.
Yes.
Oh, here we go.
What I wanted at 21, I don't want at 25.
Right.
But at 21, I can't really speak to where she
is outside. Wow. That's what I'm saying.
Two different
like,
mindsets, you know, two different. I don't even know her anymore.
Wow.
I don't know who she is. What does she do?
Wow.
What she do?
What?
Don't judge me based off that you met.
Because she's not here anymore.
She's not.
What's so interesting about this is that you heard what she said. She said she knew the bad choices and decisions, but now that she's 25, apparently 4 years ago, is a completely different human being than what she is today. But it's not like they're about to get into that live life with no regrets, my truth-ish. So let's just keep going.
This is who we're dealing with today. So
address me as such. Address me as today.
Okay.
Would Joe say yesterday's price?
It's not
today's price.
Yeah, but yesterday's price is higher than today's price. What becomes more valuable with age, time, and use? I'll wait.
Who she was 4 years ago. Who she was yesterday.
Today.
Nah, that's real. I say don't have no regrets in life. Like,
live your life, and you can't live your life based on like what other people are gonna think, how other people are gonna feel. Because at the end of the day, it's you. It's your life. Right. So what's gonna make you happy? Like, I never want to look back and be like, oh, wish I did, or oh, why didn't I? Da, da, da.
You can't live with any regrets. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure it's probably some things that everybody feel like I could have handled this differently, or I could have da 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 da. But do I regret the experience? Do I regret the lesson? Do I regret? I don't regret anything.
Like, you learn so much in the process. So it's like I wouldn't trade the knowledge I got for anything.
Exactly.
Just like I anticipated, they're masquerading behind the walls of live life with no regrets or live in your truth or your freedom ideology. But in reality, there is nothing new under the sun when it comes to dating. I mean, she even said it before that she knew. Life is about choices and decisions, which leads to a cause and then an effect. And that effect is going to result in a particular outcome. Mistakes may be an inevitable outcome, but humans have been around long enough to not need to be told that playing with fire might get you burned.
And sometimes you need those like mistakes or whatever they want to call it. You need those mishaps to know what to do better in the future. We got to stop living in what we could have done better, what we could have and move forward and how we can become a better version of ourselves every single day, because time is not our friend. You don't get yesterday back, you don't get last month back, you don't get those years back. So all you can do is move forward and prepare yourself for being a young adult and a woman and then a mom and a wife or whatever it is that you see yourself being now.
Smart people learn from their mistakes. Wise people learn from other people's mistakes. Life's not about just living free in your mistakes and whatever just happens, happens. It's taking a look out and saying, here's my goal. What do I need to do in order to get to my goal? No one's going to forgive you for your mistakes. No one owes you a trophy because you tried hard.
Now you have enough knowledge to be like, okay, I tried it this way. This didn't work. Still don't regret it though. You know, we have deep conversations. So it's like, even when we talk, it's always from a perspective of woman to woman. Not telling you what you should do, how you should do it, especially because we're 2 different ages. But it's just like,
but it's just like sharing that experience to me, like, yo, this is what I want, this is how this played out.
It's
so,
a
like,
dirty
just
game.
So you know what's up.
Yeah, exactly.
I find these echo chamber conversations so interesting because although the young lady on the left is married, I would think there would be married woman advice, not necessarily a live free, you'll be forever young, but what are the things that you can be doing to lock down the highest value man possible? And although she's married, it seems to be pushing this power through independence that we hear so many of the modern day feminists espouting. There doesn't seem to be power in togetherness. There doesn't seem to be power in building families. And instead of speaking through the reality of your biological clock, and not that what can she be doing to lock down the highest value man possible, because men typically date down and they like much more innocent, much more teachable versions of themselves. And the consequences of not figuring that out before your biological clock expires might be a future like Lolo Jones.
I really want a family. I've waited for my husband for so many years, and I'm just getting mad, and I'm about to turn 40. There's a lot of stress on me right now.
Okay. The first shot of many. Okay, so she's starting IVF.
I like Bumble because I make the decision versus feeling like somebody's like swiping through my pictures like, I don't like her. Right. I don't like her bikini. The boob's not big enough. You know what I'm saying? Like something like that. And I'm just, with me, I'm like, okay. I get to choose.
It's on your terms.
I like that.
On your terms. We just spoke about that earlier.
Dating on your terms.
On your terms.
Always on my terms.
And maybe on your terms to give up the insides of your viscous innards, but it's still not on your terms for getting married. And I think what she brings up right there is the fundamental understanding that most modern women don't have is that, yes, they decide sexual relationships, but they don't decide relationships or marriage.
When I see something I like, I kind of like, I'm on it. And then if I don't, I'm off it. Yeah. It's like just automatic, like, it's a hard stop.
To the earlier point, you dating on your own terms, and there's no rush, and like we talked about earlier, it should be no regrets neither. You know, don't start getting into your head thinking like, okay, well, this is not.
Yeah, and I feel like if a situation is no longer serving you, there's nothing wrong with leaving that situation.
Yeah.
There's no mutual benefit or value exchange there. You are essentially the servant, and at the point that she wants to leave the situation because it no longer serves her, then she will. All you married dudes need to take note.
Does that count if like you married and we going on a date? Does that count? Cause like when we go on dates, when me and Mom finally do get to go on dates, I do the married thing. Like I want to look good because I never get to like.
It still
look
counts.
good.
It's just not your first date.
When you going someplace totally different that y'all never been before, that's your first date. You can look at it like that. This is your first time going to
I'm
places.
a comfort person.
I think what's interesting about this component of the conversation is that they brought a normal woman, right? A private life woman, and they're putting her in front of two celebrities that are rich and famous. Because I think the point is there is to show a degree of authenticity or normalcy there because the average or the normal people are watching them. And I think therein lies a particular problem for a potential viewer is that they think that they can make these same or similar decisions that the famous women make and not suffer the same consequences. Ciara getting a Russell Wilson had nothing to do with her prayer, had a lot to do with that she's rich, famous, and beautiful. So the analogy there is like me getting dating advice from a famous rapper or famous entertainer. It just doesn't make sense because at the end of the day, our lives are fundamentally different. Questions, comments, concerns? Y'all already know what to do. Mediocre tutorials and reviews at gmail.com. What you guys think about today's video? Leave me your comments down below, whether you agree or you disagree. Leave your timestamps down below as well so I know exactly which component of the video that you are speaking about. All right? Until next time, YouTube. Peace!